This object has refused to evolve for over a century. No software updates, no redesigns, no 2.0 version. While everything around it got smarter, faster, sleeker, this stayed exactly the same. Why? Because it should have died. Multiple times. In 1891, the Swiss army had a problem. Their soldiers were carrying too much gear. Heavy packs, separate tools, nothing efficient. They needed something radical. One tool that could do the work of 10. Karl Elsner, a Swiss cutler, took the challenge. He designed something no one had seen before. A knife, a screwdriver, a can opener, a reamer, all folded into a single piece of steel and wood. Compact, functional, genius. The Swiss army ordered them immediately. But here's the problem. That design should have become obsolete decades ago. Think about it. The world moved on. We went from telegraphs to telephones, from typewriters to computers, from letters to instant messages. Everything evolved, except this. The Swiss Army knife in 2025 looks almost identical to the one from 1891. Same red handle, same cross logo, same folding mechanism. Meanwhile, competitors appeared everywhere. Leatherman launched in 1983 with pliers and better grip. Gerber went tactical. SOG added modern materials. They all tried to improve the concept. The Swiss Army knife, it didn't adapt. It didn't add batteries. It didn't go high tech. It just stayed. And somehow, impossibly, it outsold everything. So what did it know that everyone else didn't? Most products die because they try to do too much. This is the curse of innovation. A company launches something great. It works. People love it. Then fear creeps in. What if we get boring? What if competitors pass us? What if we're not innovative enough? So they add features. They chase trends. They rebrand. And slowly, the product becomes unrecognizable, bloated, complicated, trying to be everything to everyone. The Swiss Army knife did the opposite. It said, this is enough. But enough is a dangerous strategy because the world doesn't reward restraint. It rewards innovation. It rewards disruption. So why didn't restraint kill the Swiss Army knife? Here's the part nobody talks about. It survived because it understood something most products forget. People don't want infinite options. They want the right options. Let me explain. The original Swiss Army knife had just 4 tools: blade, screwdriver, can opener, reamer. That's it. Over time, they added a few more: scissors, corkscrew, toothpick, tweezers. But they never went overboard. They could have. They could have added a flashlight, a USB drive, a compass, a fire starter, a laser pointer. Some models tried, but the core design stayed disciplined because here's what they realize. When you have too many options, you use none of them well. This is called decision paralysis. Psychologist Barry Schwartz studied this. He found that more choice actually makes people less happy because every option adds weight, mental load, complexity. The Swiss Army knife avoided this. It gave you exactly what you needed, not 47 attachments you'd never touch, not features that sounded cool but felt useless, just the essentials, perfectly executed, one blade sharp enough to matter. One screwdriver that actually fits screws. One corkscrew that doesn't bend. That's mastery, not addition, refinement. But that created a new problem. How do you stay relevant when you refuse to change? Because by the 2000s, the world went digital. Smartphones arrived, and they could do everything. Need a flashlight? There's an app. Need a ruler? There's an app. The Swiss Army knife started looking ancient, a relic, a museum piece. Tech blogs wrote it off. Why carry a knife when your phone does more? It seemed like the end, the final chapter of a 100-year-old story. But it wasn't. In fact, sales went up, especially among younger generations. The same people glued to their screens. They started buying Swiss Army knives. Why? Because they realized something. Digital tools are convenient, but they're also fragile. They die. They crack. They freeze. They need charging. They need Wi-Fi. They need updates. And when they fail, you're stuck. The Swiss Army knife, it works in a blackout. It works underwater. It works on a mountain. It works in the desert. It works in 2025 the exact same way it worked in 1891. No login required, no subscription, no cloud, just steel and physics. That's not nostalgia, that's reliability. And in an age where everything is temporary, reliability feels radical. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most companies can't do this. They're too afraid of being called outdated, afraid of losing market share, afraid of standing still while competitors sprint ahead. So they change, they pivot, they innovate for the sake of innovation, and they lose what made them matter in the first place. Look at Kodak. They invented the digital camera in 1975, but they buried it. Why? Because they were afraid it would kill their film business. So they did nothing. And when digital photography exploded, Kodak collapsed. They were so afraid of change, they missed the future. Now look at BlackBerry. They dominated smartphones in the 2000s. Then the iPhone launched. BlackBerry could have adapted, but they were too proud. People need keyboards, they said. Touchscreens are a fad. They were wrong, and they disappeared. The Swiss Army knife didn't make either mistake. It didn't ignore change. It didn't resist progress. It just asked a different question. Does this change make us better or just different? Most of the time, the answer was just different. So they said no, not out of fear, out of clarity. But there's one more reason it survived, and this one is deeper. It's about what the knife actually represents. The Swiss Army knife isn't just a tool, it's a philosophy, a belief that you don't need much to do a lot, that simplicity is strength, that reliability beats novelty, that the best solutions are often the oldest ones. In Switzerland, there's a word, Swissness. It means precision, quality, timelessness. The Swiss Army knife embodies that. It's not trying to be everything. It's trying to be dependable, and that matters. Because in a world that's constantly changing, constantly upgrading, constantly chasing the next thing, there's something comforting about an object that just works the same way every time, forever. But even this philosophy was tested. In 2006, airport security changed. Post 9/11 regulations banned knives on planes. Suddenly, the Swiss Army knife's biggest market, travelers, couldn't carry it. Sales dropped. This should have been the death blow, but the company didn't panic. They didn't redesign the knife. They didn't go plastic. They didn't create a TSA-approved version that gutted what made it useful. Instead, they doubled down. They reminded people this tool isn't just for planes, it's for life, camping, fixing things, emergencies, everyday problems, and it worked. People started buying them again, not as travel accessories, but as essentials. The Swiss Army knife didn't survive because it was old. It survived because it was right. Not perfect, not flashy, not trying to impress anyone, just right. And when something is right, truly solves the problem it was designed for, it doesn't need to change. Most companies today are terrified of this idea. They think standing still means death, so they chase innovation. They rebrand every 5 years, they add features no one asked for, and in doing so, they lose their identity. The Swiss Army knife teaches the opposite lesson. Know what you are, do it better than anyone, and don't apologize for staying true to it. The Swiss Army knife hasn't changed in 100 years, not because it's stubborn, not because it's old-fashioned, but because it knew what it was from the beginning, a tool, not a gadget, not a trend, not a statement, just a tool that works. And in a world obsessed with the next big thing, maybe the smartest move is knowing when you've already built it. That red handle, that white cross, that satisfying click when you close the blade. It's the same sound your great-grandfather heard. And it'll be the same sound your great-grandchildren hear, because some things don't need to change. They just need to be right.